Hello everyone, welcome to Paula's Liberty blog. This is Paula Bradley. Today's topic is, what are rights and where do they come from? What I'd like to do in this video is try to explain natural rights as viewed by the American Founding Fathers, because it is on this philosophy they based the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution. I'll be referring to those two documents throughout this video. First of all, natural rights extend from natural law. The ideas of natural law can be traced all the way back to ancient Greek philosophers, to Cicero, to Thomas Aquinas, Thomas Hobbes, and John Locke, among others. The writings of those philosophers influenced our founders greatly. Thomas Jefferson described natural law as the law of nature and of nature's God. Natural law is generally accepted to be universal, meaning applied to everyone on the planet, and recognizable by means of human reason. That is what the founders meant when they said in the Declaration of Independence, quote, "We hold these truths to be self-evident," unquote. Natural law also holds that certain rights are inherent by virtue of human nature. The founders stated this in the Declaration of Independence by saying, quote, "All men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights," unquote. Unalienable means a person cannot be separated from his rights by any government, because those rights are not granted by any government, they are endowed by our Creator. That doesn't mean that governments won't try to violate people's rights in certain situations, but the people always have them. The founders go on to name some general rights: life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. They also consider justly acquired property a right. That means I own myself, I also own my time, and I own everything I produce with my time or receive by fair trade, including the fruits of my labor, which is a product of my time. Another important facet to remember about natural law is that my rights end when they violate the rights of others. Let's look at your right to liberty. What does that mean? Under natural law, liberty means you are free to conduct your life as you see fit, as long as you do not violate someone else's rights. So, for example, I could exercise my right to liberty by living where I want, eating what I want, buying what I want, traveling where I want, etc. But I don't have a right to any actions that violate the rights of others by taking their stuff, endangering their lives, their health, or their liberty. Acts of aggressive violence are considered a violation of natural law by the person or group initiating the aggression, including many instances of preemptive aggression. Natural law does, however, permit a person or group to practice self-defense if an act of violence is being committed against you. It should be noted that violence is only considered defensive if an act of violence or aggression against you is actually taking place or is imminent, and the defense should be proportionate to the aggression. For example, if someone throws a shoe at my head, or has a shoe in his hand and is aiming to throw it at my head, it would probably be disproportionate for me to pull out a shotgun and fire it at him. It might be more proportionate, and therefore justifiable, for me to knock the shoe out of his hand, or knock him to the ground, or to ask someone else to knock him to the ground if I'm unable. So, in a nutshell, we know that certain rights belong to all humans on earth. They are not granted by governments or rulers, and one person's rights end when they violate another person's rights. We also know the founders believed we all possess natural rights of many different varieties. How does that affect the way they viewed government? Well, they stated in the Declaration of Independence, quote, "To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men," end quote. That's it. The purpose of government, according to our founders, is to protect our rights. Not to provide us with comfortable retirement, not to tell businesses what they can and cannot manufacture and sell, not to make sure everybody has equal stuff. It's to secure our rights. That might be a shock to a lot of people. But our government was designed to have a very small role, and that included securing our rights by defending us against aggression from individuals or from other nations, protecting us from fraud, and basically letting us enjoy life and liberty in the ways we want. Our founders also stated in the Declaration of Independence that, quote, whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, meaning when it fails to live up to its stated purpose of protecting our rights, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute new government, end quote. Hey, did you all know that we can change this government anytime we want if it fails to protect our rights? Or even if the government itself is the violator of our rights? The wise men who wrote the Declaration of Independence thought so. As far as the government being the violator of our rights, that is why the founders included the Bill of Rights in our Constitution. I know most of you learned about this in school, but let's address it again because it is very important. The Bill of Rights is not intended to limit people. It is intended to limit the government. The Bill of Rights is a list of just some of the things the government is not allowed to do because those actions constitute a violation of our rights. The founders wisely included the Ninth Amendment, which basically says that the list of rights is not all-inclusive, that we have other rights that are not named in the Constitution or the Declaration of Independence. They also included in the Constitution a very specific list of things the different branches of federal government are allowed to do. Those things are spelled out in Articles 1, 2, and 3. Then in the 10th Amendment, the founders assured us that the federal government would only have the powers listed and all other powers would be reserved for the states and the people. The founders included these limits because they understood that the nature of any ruling power is to forever expand that power, and any expansion of power necessarily infringes upon the rights of the people. They intended for the federal government to be of limited power and limited purpose, to protect our rights. It's also important to note another line the founders included in the Declaration of Independence. Quote, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That means that all of the government power comes from the people, which is another facet of natural law. And the people cannot give power to the government that the people themselves do not have. In other words, the government only has power to do things the people have power to do. Government cannot simply create any power it wants for itself. Let me put it this way. If it is a violation of natural law for people to take the property of other people by force, which we call stealing, then the people cannot give the power to the government to take property by force. Doesn't that make you think about things a little differently? Here's an example. It is against the law for me to approach someone at gunpoint and forcefully take his money, even if my purpose is to do something good with the money, like giving it to someone else that I think needs it more. That would be a violation of natural law, taking the property of someone else. So, under natural law, the government does not have the power to take money or other property by force from the people, even if it intends to give it to someone else who needs it more. For another simple and interesting look at what rights are and where they come from, I love the short animated video called The Philosophy of Liberty, which you can see here on YouTube. I've named it in the description below so you can easily find it. It's animated and fun and explains natural rights so wonderfully that even kids can watch it and learn something. So please check out that video. God bless you all. Thank you for watching. And if you liked this, please watch my other video blogs and feel free to share them.